And good evening, Red Sox fans. How you doing? How you doing? Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 26 of the Believe in Red Sox podcast. Ellis, how you doing, my
Hey,
friend?
how you doing?
Oh man, good start to the week. It's a Monday, but I'm a teacher. I'm on Christmas vacation. I got the next 2 weeks off. I cannot complain at all. I'm in good spirits over here, Ellis. I'm in
Whenever
good
we complain,
spirits.
no one wants to listen anyway.
Yeah, man. But we got a few things to talk about tonight, Ellis. We had a fun signing yesterday. We got Justin Turner coming into the fold, so we'll break that down. But with the good, we got the bad as well. It's looking like things are not very good with Rafael Devers in Red Sox land. We're going to talk about that. And yeah, got to hear all your thoughts on everything that we're going to talk about tonight. I'm excited to hear what you're thinking about everything. But before we do get started, we got to go over our sponsor for tonight's show, and that is BetOnline. Basketball is back, and hey, the Celtics, they're doing pretty good. And BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, or even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. But already, Ellis, well, like I said, we have a couple of things to talk about. A good signing yesterday, in my opinion, Justin Turner coming into the fold. JD Martinez heading to the Dodgers. They basically traded places. Sad to see JD Martinez go, but I think he's going into a good situation with the Dodgers. I think he's going to help them out. What are your quick reactions, JD Martinez heading to the Dodgers?
Well, like you said, I think it's a good situation for him. JD definitely needs a good bounce back season. I thought it was going to be here with the Red Sox. But of course, you never know how things may work out in Major League Baseball. And it seemed to take him to the West Coast, where he's done a lot of damage against the Dodgers. And they remember that, I'm sure.
Yeah. And, the Dodgers, they've had a history of, maybe kind of looking at a guy, seeing what's going on with him. It's not like JD Martinez had a bad season last year. He had a good, solid season, but we've talked about it before. The power was a little down. So I am intrigued to see if, maybe he can get back to, maybe 25, 30 home runs. And, but we've talked, what I like about JD Martinez, and we've talked about this in prior episodes, is that it's almost like having a hitting coach on your team in the form of a player. Like, players gravitate towards him if they're, struggling. I've always liked JD Martinez as just a part of the team in general. What do you think about that for the Dodgers in that dynamic?
Well, with JD coming over, he brought that whole mentality of recording himself with the iPad and watching every at bat, every swing in the batting cage. And a lot of players on the Red Sox started doing that as well. So, yeah, you're right. It helped a lot of the hitters. And I think he's going to carry that over to LA. He's going to continue to do that. And he's going to have a bounce back season, I do believe.
Yeah, I think so too. And hey, gets to play with an old buddy, Mookie Betts. So
there it is.
You can't hate on him for that. And I wish the best for him. But let's get into Justin Turner. Hey, as a fellow Ginger, I'm very excited about this addition. I never really connected those dots. To be honest, I never thought Justin Turner would leave the Dodgers. I thought he would just be there for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I thought he was a mainstay also.
Yeah, he's done a lot for the community there. I just figured they'd find a way to keep him around. And I figured if he did leave, there were other teams that, maybe could use a bat. I just never thought Justin Turner coming to the Red Sox. But it's funny how free agency works. The dominoes kind of just fall. And then all of a sudden, this guy that you weren't expecting maybe to even give a phone call to, he's just sitting right there. And it ends up working out. Yeah. It was kind of interesting how everything worked out over the weekend, a lot of attention was being brought to Dansby Swanson. Once he was the last big free agent on the market, people were wondering where he was going to go. And then there was a report over the weekend that the Red Sox were once again showing interest in having a reunion with JD Martinez. And my instant reaction to that over the weekend was, well, they're probably out on Dansby Swanson, because I don't necessarily think they've been looking for a shortstop, because they do have Trevor Story. I think they've been looking for a right-handed hitter. And so once I saw that there was really no more connection with Swanson, and then they were looking at JD, then all of a sudden, I'm thinking, all right, they're probably out on Swanson. And then all of a sudden JD is gone, and then Justin Turner is just sitting right there. Have you ever had seen an experience like that, with a friend or yourself even, where kind of the dominoes can kind of just fall in a weird way, and all of a sudden just things can just work out like that?
This is a weird game, man. I mean, people always talk about loyalty, but it's a business. You have to look at it like that. And of course, the Dodgers had that club option, and then they just bought him out for a couple of $1 million. And all of a sudden he's a free agent. The Red Sox jump on it. And listen, let me just tell you, this guy is a complete solid player. He's great in the clubhouse. He's a leader. He's going to bring that right-handed bat with a little pop on that side of the plate. I mean, he's gonna generate some power, especially at Fenway Park. He's out of that big stadium at Dodger Stadium. You bring him here to Fenway, he brings that energized presence that he has. He's going to be a plus in the clubhouse.
Yeah, he reminds me, maybe not, so outspoken or goofy, but in a way kind of reminds me of Kevin Millar, sort of. Like, he's just just a goofy guy, friendly guy to be around, likes having a good time with the teammates.
Well, and of course, he gets reunited with Kike. So, there you go.
Well, you got the Dodgers over here. I mean, you got Kenley Jansen now. We got Kike, and now we got Justin Turner. Now the guys from the Red Sox are going to LA. I mean, they're basically, I don't know, they're just sharing organizations here at this point. I don't know. But let's take a look here at Justin Turner. He had a bit of an interesting season last year. He got off to a bit of a slow start. Pulling up the numbers here overall for Justin Turner. Ended up having himself a really good season. Hit 278 with a 350 on base, a 438 slugging, pretty decent, a 123 WRC plus. But again, the first half and the second half, they were pretty different. First half, he only hit 256, but then in the second half, he hit 319. So in the end, ended up having himself a rather good season.
Yeah, solid.
Justin, sorry, go.
A solid season.
Yes, a very solid season. The second half, or the first half, sorry, people were wondering, all right, what's going on with Justin Turner here? But hey, ended up being the Justin Turner that we know. But taking a look here at Baseball Savant, going to pull up the StatCast page here. There is a lot to like when it comes to Justin Turner. When you're looking at him from a point of view of hitting at Fenway Park, tends to pull a little bit more. That's usually where the power is going. And that's going to work, I think, rather nicely at Fenway Park. You're still seeing some reds. The exit velocity is still looking pretty good. Still middle of the road when it comes to the barrels. Gets himself a good amount of walks. Doesn't chase a lot. He seems like just a Red Sox. Like, when you look at the type of a hitter that he is. How do you think he fits in performance-wise with the Red Sox?
Well, like you said, he has a solid at bat each and every time. It doesn't chase a lot of balls out of the zone. He really keys on middle end. He gets that ball away. He can actually go that way to right field solid as well. But as far as him blending in with the Red Sox, I think, like I said, he's going to bring some power. He's going to bring that presence in the ballpark, in the clubhouse, that leadership. You have some veterans on the team, but you also have a lot of young guys that's going to look at him and see how he plays and adapt and go with that.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's a great fit all the way around. Just looking at it from a numbers, a personality point of view. I'm sure he's going to get involved, in the city of Boston, doing some charity work. So the contract as of right now for Justin Turner, as of right now, it's a 1-year deal, $15 million for the first year, but then he has a player option for a little around $7 million. So overall, if he ends up staying for the 2 years, it'll be around an AAV of about $10.5 million per season. But it'll be interesting. He is 38 years old. If he very well could end up just staying the last couple of years. But I love the move. I think it's a great move. When I saw it, I was rather excited about it. I just never really even thought it was even an option, but it's just funny how the dominoes fall. But it is looking like probably going to be the designated hitter. At first, one reaction, and this actually is a little segue into our next story. A lot of people were thinking, oh, Justin Turner, he's a third baseman. Well, hold on a second. Wait a minute. We got Rafael Devers at third base. Just so happens we got something to talk about here with Rafael Devers. Now, according to Hector Gomez yesterday, let me share my screen here. So, sharing, here we go. So, according to Hector Gomez yesterday, Rafael Devers and his camp, they were seeking 3 different types of deals. They were looking at either 9 years, 300, 10 years at 325, or 11 at 360. Now, if you go to Fangraphs, now you gotta love Fangraphs. They do a lot of number crunching, but over the last 4 years, going back to 2019 so far has been his best overall season. He has averaged, now if you also, when I did the math in 2020, if he had played a full season, he would have been worth a little more than $20 million that year.
Yeah.
So overall, the last 4 years, he's averaged $35.5 million per season based off of his on-field performance. So to me, a deal like what is being mentioned for Rafael Devers with these 3 options, that sounds pretty fair. To me, I would think 10 years, anywhere from 300, 325, especially still considering his age. He's only 26 years old.
Yep.
That seems pretty fair to me when you're looking at the numbers back it up. Now, I've mentioned this before where the Red Sox, I personally think they don't trust his defense long term because there was a report out there suggesting they view him as more of a first baseman, like a Matt Olson, kind of like the Matt Olson contract was what they were kind of looking at Rafael Devers. So with this other report coming in from Hoon Lee of ESPN, he is saying here, executives around the sport see the same pattern emerging with Red Sox star third baseman Rafael Devers. He's saying same pattern as in the Xander Bogaerts situation, who will be 26 at the start of the 2023 season, his last before he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2024. According to multiple league sources, the Red Sox and Devers are, quote, galaxies apart in their contract negotiations. The current expectation from Devers and his camp is that the third baseman will be a free agent at the end of the 2023 season, given the current state of contract talks. I'm just gonna ask you right off the bat. Instant reaction to just hearing all that.
Well, the numbers don't lie. I mean, he definitely has the numbers to demand or ask for that particular price, those many years. Okay. And if you look at what happened this off season with, all the teams throwing out the 10, the 9, the 11-year deals, and it continues to go on like that. Rafi's numbers definitely looks like he could be in that category, no doubt. Okay. Defensively, if you look at his numbers defensively, I know, sometimes the numbers, they worry about defense, of course. But this past season was his best defensive season, I believe.
Yes.
And and he played his butt off. So, I mean, he's going to have an argument, and the Red Sox are definitely going to have to really bear down and maybe negotiate a little bit more. Now, I don't know if they're going to go 9, 10, 11 years, because I haven't seen that in a long time, especially in Boston. You've never seen that. But it's going to be interesting, very interesting to see.
It's funny that you say that because they've done some long-term deals. Now, I can't think of one. I don't know if I'm just going blank, but I can't think of one that's been over 10 years.
No,
I can't remember what Pedroia's contract was. I can't remember the exact terms. I don't remember if that was a 10-year deal. Maybe it was an 8 or like a 7, but either way, they have not had. Now, I'm not defending the Red Sox here. I am just pointing out why I do think. I think it's a philosophical thing. I think it's a John Henry, Tom Warner, Sam Kennedy thing where they just don't like the long-term deals. I think they like to keep them 5-6 years. That seems to be what they're looking for. But they have done some long-term deals in the past. Probably their best one has been Manny Ramirez overall, when you really look at just all of the contracts they've given out. Consider, Manny helped bring in 2 World Series, put up great numbers with the Red Sox.
Sure.
However, there were some, off the field issues as well. There was trade demands. There was, getting in scuffles with security guards and blah, 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 or travel agents or whoever it was. Yeah. So there was turbulence with Manny Ramirez. You've had David Price recently where there was stuff going on with the media, Dennis Eckersley. There have been just, even you can look at Pedroia. Pedroia is a legend in Red Sox Nation, sure. But in the end, unfortunately, he got the mishap, had the knee injury and ended up, just being not a great contract in the end.
But what you said earlier, I don't think any of those deals were 10-year deals.
Now, no, Manny was 8.
Yeah.
David Price was 7. Then I don't remember Pedroia's deal. I'm going so blank on that one. But yeah, they've never gone a 10-year. I can't think of a double-digit year deal. I think the longest they've done is Manny.
I've never seen a contract where a player keeps up that same steady performance for 10 years. I mean, sometimes you overpay for 5-6 years at the most. 7 years is tops for me as far as the performance of that particular guy. I think, and the Red Sox are being safe. I mean, anywhere from 5 to 7 to 8 years at the most. Okay, I can see that. But I've never really liked the 10-year deals, the 12, 13-year deals. I mean, come on, you never know what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've talked about that on my channel where when you look at all of the guys in the major leagues that have gotten these double-digit year deals, you can probably count on one hand, maybe 2 hands, how many of them have won a World Series championship.
Yeah.
A-Rod had 1. Jeter, I can't remember that many years, but whatever. He had 1 World Series. Manny had a couple of World Series there.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at just 10 plus years, there's not a lot of guys that have won a championship. Harper came pretty close,
sure.
just not too long ago. But when you look at, it's kind of hard to argue with the Red Sox based off of what they've done since 2004. Now, I understand emotions can get a little high. It feels like this always happens with the Red Sox. You had the Nomar situation, you had John Lester, you just had Bogarts. I can understand where the fans are coming from.
Sure.
But I can see where the Red Sox are coming from a business point of view too. It's it's a constant tug of war. What are your thoughts just on how the Red Sox handle things? Because that has been coming into question. That media. Ken Rosenthal just wrote an article today on The Athletic, basically just bashing Red Sox ownership. Everything in the front office, not saying very good things about him. What are you thinking here? Like, I don't know. Where's your mindset at with the Red Sox front office right now?
If you think about it, most of the teams that signed the players for, double-digit 10-year deals or whatever are usually free agents, and other teams do that, not their home team. The only one that I can remember is the Yankees, of course, with Judge, and they would have been stupid to let him go to San Francisco or anywhere else. With the numbers, the year that he had. Yeah. But you don't see that very often from your home team.
Right.
It's usually teams outside the box. San Diego did it. Philly did it with all these guys. You don't see that very often. But it's not to say it won't happen.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. As a front office, I think to be safe with 5 to 8 years at the most. At the most.
Yeah.
I can't see 10 years. And when the guy gets 10 or more, I mean, either he's 25 years old, and I was so surprised with Xander's contract in San Diego.
Yeah.
I mean, being 30 years old, it's going to take him to 40, 41 years old.
Yeah.
And who knows if he can still play shortstop, third base, wherever.
Yeah. No, these contracts that are being given out this offseason, the years are just bonkers to me. Like Trey Turner, Correa getting 13 years.
Yes.
This is kind of looks like this is how teams are now trying to. This is the new loophole. All right, it's to just give the long deals, right? Because it's going to be less AAV, and then that's going to help keep you under the luxury tax, and then you're going to avoid, having to pay taxes. So it's an interesting kind of a thing right now in the league, and then you got this constant tug of war between the fan base right now in Boston and ownership. I'm kind of in the middle where I'm kind of waiting to see how things play out. Like I want to see the rest of the offseason. I want to see, how things work out. To me, out of all the guys, that have, that the Red Sox have had, Mookie, that would have just been tough. That would have been a ton of money. Who knows what he's going to be at the end of that deal? He's great right now.
Yeah.
But Devers, he's 26. If there is one guy I could give a deal to that's approaching 9-10 years, I think I would go Devers, just because he is younger than what Bogarts was when he just got his deal, Betts when he went to the Dodgers. Devers has the age on his side, so I could see it for him. But then again, I'm not sure how he's going to be long term. Do you think Devers could end up maybe moving to a different position at some point, or do you think he could end up staying at third base I
think he's going to be fine at third base.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you need tremendous range to play third base. You need that first initial step. The first couple of steps get to the ball, because it's such a hot spot, hot corner. It gets on you so quickly.
Yeah.
But, I can see Devers playing his career at third base. He doesn't need to move to first base. But that's the same situation over there on that hot corner or DH. I mean, if you're worried about that, you could DH the guy during the course of the season, split time with Justin Turner or whomever else that you want to do that with. But let me tell you, Rafael Devers, he's young, he's productive, he hits the long ball. I mean, you cannot let all these guys just get out from underneath you and still continue to think you're going to be in a World Series or just competing for one at that.
Yeah. What I think the Red Sox, it seems like maybe they need to make some kind of an adjustment. Like we just saw the Rays, if you want to talk small, like the way these small market teams operate, everyone's saying, Hyde Bloom, he's trying to act like he's the Tampa Bay Rays, needs to realize he's in Boston. If you were to make an adjustment, you look at what the Rays just did with the Wander Franco, a young guy. How old is Wander Franco? Like 22 right now.
Yeah.
21.
What they give him with the 20-year deal? No, what?
Yeah, it was it was a long deal. If you're the Red Sox, I think they maybe need to do something different. If you maybe let's say you got Marcelo Meyer, if he ends up being the real deal,
right,
and he comes up, let's say 2 years from now, instead of waiting until this guy, gets to this point. When he comes up, if he ends up playing really well in that the first couple of years, get the guy locked up. If you want to do a 10-year deal, that's the kind of guy you got to give it to. This young guy, right? Because these younger players like Franco, I think those are the kind of guys you should give long-term deals to. I'm okay with that, because if you can have those guys until they're 32, whatever, right around that age, and then go out into the market and you get their best years.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're absolutely right with that, because you can have a club-friendly deal the first 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And then, of course, extend it even more so.
Right. And that's where, with Rafi, maybe they could have done that with him. When he was how old when he came up? He was 20, like 21. Wow. That's what they should have done with him then. Giving him a deal, 10 years, a deal that he could not refuse, where he could have had that long-term security, go back out into the market when he's, 32, 33.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think maybe you start seeing the Red Sox do something like that. But I think right now, I think they are going through, and this is just kind of my personal opinion, how you've seen lots of Red Sox teams over the years. I think they're going through a bit of a transition right now. I think and anytime you go through change, it's going to be a bit painful. There's going to be some turbulence along the way. I think they're trying to move into a bit of a new era in Red Sox baseball where they want to be like the Dodgers. Chaim Bloom has said that in the last few years. He wants to be like the Dodgers, where this Dodgers organization, they have money, they have an incredible farm system that just keeps churning out talent, and they constantly have a good major league team. That's what Bloom wants. He has said the Dodgers are like the perfect organization, and if he wants to get to that point, you're going to have your turbulence, and unfortunately, you're kind of going through some players right now. Kind of what are your thoughts on his vision, to try and be like the Dodgers? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, if you look at the Dodgers' history the last few years, they're going out to get every number one free agent that's out there. They are going out to get these guys, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. I mean, they're spending that big money, and they haven't, the last, 10 years, they've won, the last few years, they've only won one World Series.
Yeah.
The last decade or so. So, but they're still competing each and every year. They're bringing the product out there, and they're not missing these guys. They're coming in, and they're all blending in perfect. Okay, you let a guy like Justin Turner go. Obviously, you have someone that can move in right over.
Uh-oh. Everyone, we have lost Ellis. Oh, you still there? There you go. Oh, man, I was about to say.
Sorry about that.
Man, I was about to say, well, I got to figure something out here to keep this going. Sorry, what were you saying?
No. As an organization, they're not missing out on too many big name free agents. They're going out to get these guys. They're not afraid to drop the money and go out and give a guy 8 to 10 years like they did with Mookie and Freddie Freeman. And they were talking about even bringing in, other guys. And it's like, okay, well, how can you possibly do that and still, deal with the luxury tax and all the other issues and everything? But they're able to do that. So as the Red Sox, the fans in Boston are so used to the Red Sox not having a problem going out to get anyone. And they've won the World Series in the past. So let's continue that. I mean, the fans are spoiled. The city, everyone's spoiled with that whole thing, the organization. So, but I understand what Hyde is doing. He's trying to be more conservative, get more of the younger guys in, like the Rays. You said the Rays, to be honest with you, they are competing every year, and I still don't understand how they do it.
Yeah.
They're right there every year.
Oh, I'm telling you, a little off topic, but I think the Rays could be really good this coming year. They had a lot of injuries last year. Look out for them, man. Really. There's a year the Rays.
And the thing about it, I'm sorry to jump in, but the thing about it, they've hit on a lot of their draft picks. That's the number one thing. You have to hit on those draft picks. You draft a guy number 1 to number 5, he has to hit. And they haven't had a problem with that guy being successful at the major league level.
Yeah. That'll be a fun team to watch, I think, this year. But, with the Red Sox, I want them to get back to that point that, that 2000s era where, they won in 2004, made it back to the playoffs in 2005. They missed in 2006, won it again in 2007, made it back in 2008, good team in 2009, 2010. They were competitive, didn't make it. I think they want to get back to that. That's the time where they were just consistently good every single year, but they were getting these young players coming up from the farm. And then when you got into the 2010s, that's when it was so up and down. Like 2011, you had the greatest team ever, the highly touted greatest team ever. Still cry myself to sleep over that team every single night. 2012, the Bobby Valentine team, riding his bike off into the sunset in Boston when that season was over. And then you won in 2013, bad years in 14, 15, came back at it in 16, 17, 18. So up and down, and I think, that those mid to late 2000s years, those were some good years, obviously 04. So I think it's anytime you're trying to transition into something like what they're trying to do, it's going to be a little painful at times. It's not going to happen overnight. People think it's going to happen in 1 year. It's going to take years. It's going to take.
I mean,
yeah.
In 2021, they were really close. A game or so from the World Series, okay?
Yeah.
Now, normally you build off of that, but, things happen, which they did. And last year, with all the injuries and all the little mishaps throughout the season, it was just a crazy year last year.
Yeah.
So now you just have to kind of, rebuild, so to say, try to figure it out.
Yeah. Right now, I do feel like, I think Hyde, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Red Sox fan. I'd be saying this if I'm, an Orioles fan or whatever. I think Bloom is getting a little unfair treatment right now. I think you just have to let the offseason play out. It's not done yet. If the Red Sox can get a little bit more pitching depth, who knows what happens with Devers here. This is a, big question mark now. What's going to happen with him? It's possible they could be a decent team in the running for. Now you got 3 wild cards. So it's very possible that they could be competing for a wild card spot. If you go back to the 2021 team, they had talent that was carried over, from that 2018 championship. But they had guys that what I really liked about that 2021 team was that you had these guys, who you didn't have the best looking rotation, but they made their starts every 5th day.
Yes.
They just made every start, and if you look back at that 2018 Red Sox team, that's what they did too. They had basically 5 guys that made all of their starts. And when you give your bullpen a chance every single game to win, it's a recipe for success. And I think if the Red Sox can find a formula like that, I think they could be in contention for a wild card this year.
No, again,
maybe not right at this very point. I can't say that. They need to make a couple more moves. What else, kind of going off topic here, what else would you like to see the Red Sox do this offseason?
I'd like to see them add another bat, another big right-handed bat. I mean, because look, you're going to have to compete in the American League East, and it's not looking easy in the East. No. You're looking at the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Orioles. I mean, all of those guys finished so strong last year, and they showed you exactly what they have coming. Even at that minor league level, at the upper minor league level, they have some guys that are ready to just knock down that door to get in there also. So I would like to see the Red Sox get another arm, a good solid arm to go in that rotation, or even some of that bullpen, because if you add one to the rotation, you got another quality arm going to the bullpen. Okay. Yeah. That right-handed bat, like I said, it could be an outfielder. It could be a DH presence. Just to have that guy that can rotate in the outfield as well as maybe first base or DH. There's nothing wrong with a good rotation of guys.
Yeah. So getting back to Rafi Devers here, if they do indeed, because it is looking like how it was looking with Mookie, well, it was kind of the same series of events, all that last year before he entered free agency. There was just the whispers, what's going on? They're going to be able to come to terms, didn't come to terms. And then you started hearing the rumors start to churn. And now the same thing is happening with Devers. Now, especially with these reports that they're apart. Do you think if the Red Sox trade Devers, which right now it could be a possibility, do you think there's any chance for the Red Sox this coming season?
It's going to be tough.
They add some bats.
It really depends on who else they add.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not one to give up and trade a guy like Rafael Devers, who's one of these unbelievable talents that comes along every once in a while.
Yeah.
This is a guy that you can keep in your organization as a franchise type player. Yeah. I mean, those are the guys you look for. But like you said earlier, you have some guys in the minor leagues that are coming up almost ready. Those are the ones you want to, if you want to give them a long-term deal, do it early, like you said. But Rafi is already here. You know what kind of player he is, just like we were talking about with Xander Bogaerts. You know what you're getting on a daily basis. If he can stay healthy, his numbers are going to be the same every year because he's that kind of guy. He feeds off that fastball. You can't beat him with it. He's a mistake hitter also. He swings at things up here, down here, and he makes solid contact. Yeah. And you can't teach that. That's something that's naturally given, God-given, and he has that ability to see ball, hit ball. And that's what you want in a threat like that.
Yeah, you know when I would have signed Rafi Devers if I were to give him a 10-year deal, I would have called him into the office when he hit that home run off Aroldis Chapman in that ninth inning. I would have called him right away into the, all right, here we go. 10-year deal.
Right.
Let's do this. Right. That was awesome what you just did. So when I saw him hit that against Chapman, I'm like, whoa, like it's not like that's Chapman, high heat, lefty matchup. And he took him oppo. Like,
he's a prime time performer. He is. He's a prime time performer. Yeah. He does his best work against, when his back is against the wall, when the Red Sox need him, he comes through.
Yeah. That was incredible. I will always remember that moment. I remember watching that. It was on Sunday night, I believe. Man, what a moment that was. But hopefully the Red Sox learned from it. Now, with Rafi, let's talk some fun here. Everyone always loves talking trade proposals and everything. So looking at, Rafael Devers, when it comes to his trade value, a lot of organizations, I've talked about this before with you, where a lot of organizations, they like to use, algorithm based formulas to try and come up with good trades. Baseballtradevalues.com. It's probably the closest thing you'll get to how these major league teams like to, obviously they do scouting, they have their eyes too, but when it comes to looking at numbers, crunching numbers, they like to use formulas. And baseballtradevalues.com, the owner, his name is John Bitzer. He's actually had major league teams, talk to him about his website. It's a very, very good website. It's not perfect by any means, but over 400 real life trades have been put into the simulator, and 95% of them have been accepted by the simulation as like a fair trade. So with Rafi, it's looking like right now his value, you're looking at anywhere from $35 to $40 million worth of value. So you're looking at least one really good prospect and maybe a couple other pieces as well. A similar trade was Mookie Betts for Alex Verdugo with a couple of prospects. So with Rafi Devers, you're probably looking at a trade similar to that. To me, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, the three teams that seem to make the most sense, unless you can put another one in my ear, I'm thinking right now, you got teams like the Phillies who are trying to win. They're just trying to add bats anywhere they can. And maybe they could give him a long-term deal. And you got Dave Dombrowski in the fold. We got teams like the Dodgers out there. They got tons of money. They got lots of prospects to deal. Hey, Rafi Devers, Mookie Betts together again. Or maybe the New York Mets. They got money for days. They were looking at Carlos Correa. They got into the party late. Steve Cohen actually made some comments on that, saying, they showed up to the party. They were just too late. They thought Correa would have been a good addition for their ball club. And the Mets, they got money. Like I said, they could offer him a long-term deal. I would think if a team wants to trade for Devers, they would probably want to see if he, what kind of an extension he's looking for. So out of those three teams, any kind of thoughts on those three teams, or do you have another team in mind that maybe could be a good fit for Debbie?
Two of those teams that you mentioned, I would have to go with the Dodgers and the Mets.
Yeah.
The Mets, they don't have that guy at third base. They have Escobar. They had a couple of youngsters over there. And then the Dodgers, of course, Turner just left. They may put what's the young kid's name?
On the Dodgers?
On the Dodgers, yeah. He was a top prospect a couple of years ago.
Oh, Gavin Lux.
They may throw him over there at third base. But yeah, that's another spot And they, like you said, they're not afraid to go out and drop that iron quickly. Mm-hmm. And they have the prospects.
Yeah.
The Dodgers always have the prospects. The Mets have good prospects. I mean, that's something. But, I don't want to look at trading Rafi. I mean, but, you have to think about it. You have to think about it and look at it from a business standpoint. Yeah, it's a possibility, man. I mean, the way things have been going lately, it's always a possibility.
Yeah. I absolutely want Rafi to stay, for the long haul. I feel like that's a bat that you can just have in the middle of your order for the next, 8 years at least. I think he'll be productive, even if he ends up having to be a DH, even if you feel like you need to improve defensively at third, that bat in that order is just, it's just going to be so good, so it's like you could always move him off of third. Now, would you want to be paying that much money for a DH? Well, whatever. David Ortiz, look how good he was. That guy was worth all the money.
Yeah.
So to me, Rafi Devers is a bat that I feel like you don't have. It's one of those things where when he's in the lineup, you don't got to worry about who's going to be producing. He's just kind of that guy. You can just plug him in and forget about him. Like he's there. He's going to do damage. So
and the key thing, Robbie, the key thing is don't let it get to that last year.
Yeah.
Because that's when the player, a lot of times like the player bets on himself, said, no, I'm good. We're going to play out this season. Or they'd be like, you know what, you guys, just street terms, you played me to a point where I'm not interested in even staying.
Right.
So you don't want that. You don't want that bitter taste in a player's mouth. You want him to know that, hey, we want you in this organization. Yeah. You came up with us. We want to keep you here. We know your value. Let's keep this guy. What do we have to do? Yeah,
it's kind of, like I agree. It's, just it's the human element of it. Like we look at baseball players and, we're looking at stats constantly. We're, looking at numbers. There's a human being there. And to me, it's like, yeah, these guys are going to get paid. They're going to make their money. But hey, we're all human at the end of the day. It's, if I'm going to work and I'm not sure where I'm going to be working next year, it's in your mind and it's in your head, no matter what money you're making. I mean, a lot of guys are probably like, whatever, I'll make my money. But to me, if it were me, I'd want to know where I'm going to be living next year. I'd want to know what my family's going to be doing next year. I just want to know these things. And I think it's, I would like the Red Sox, if I were to have one criticism of the Red Sox, it is just kind of, if you're not going to re-sign the guy, at least tell him. I don't know. Like, there's a human there, so with Devers, to me, Devers, you got to, I don't know. That's me. You got to keep this guy around.
Well, you have to keep him around. But on the other hand, I don't have to know where you're going to be the next 12 years, though.
Yeah, exactly.
8 years to 10 at the most, I can see that. And especially with the team you came up with. Okay, right. There's always going to be more desire for you from other teams.
Right.
No doubt. Free agency.
Absolutely.
We know that.
We'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening. But we actually did have a couple of super chats here. And let me go pull these back up. We actually had a rather interesting super chat. I'll read that in just a second. We had one from a longtime subscriber, Boston Productions. Says, if we sign Devers, I'll take a bath in ketchup. Well, I'm not going to be doing that, man. If we re-sign him, I don't know if that's your thing. Go for it, man.
What?
I don't know, man. I don't know. He's that excited, I guess. But we got an interesting one. Thank you for that super chat, Boston Productions. But we have one from Gareth Miller. Ellis, you're going to like this one. He says here, when I was young, I met Mr. Burks while he was with the Red Sox. I just want to say thank you for being one of the kindest major leaguers I've ever had the pleasure to meet. Thank you, Mr. Burks.
Gareth Miller. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Amen. I mean, I'm sure that was one of the, probably, honestly, if I were a ball player, to me, I'll tell you, when I have my Rinky Dink channel here on YouTube where I actually got to play over the summer with other baseball YouTubers. We actually played against guys in the Appalachian League where they're college players that are trying to get scouted more for the major leagues. We did like a kind of like a fun little thing. where we had YouTubers versus, these guys. It was on the Burlington Sock Puppets. And I'll tell you, after the game, there were people, I had a couple of guys, they were just there to watch. They came up to me and they said, "Hey, Robbie, can you sign my ball?" I'm like, "Me? You want me to sign your ball?" Like, me?
Right.
And they were like, "Dude, thank you." I'm like, "Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you." Like, I'm sure that was something that you felt all the time,
Yeah.
signing balls.
Yeah.
Any memories of, you just meeting any fans or, anything like that?
Well, this one fan, and I wish that I could see him again. He was a young kid. He was behind the rope. We're having batting practice. I believe this is 1990, 92, somewhere around there. And he came up, he was screaming my name, "Could you sign this?" So I told the guy to let him under the rope to come through. And I'm sitting there talking to him, and we had just a great conversation. All of a sudden he says, "You've signed my bat. Is it possible for Jim Rice to sign it?" So, I got Jim Rice, and Reggie Jackson was there. But that kid was the nicest young man, and he did everything the right way. "Excuse me, Mr. Burks. Excuse me, Mr. Rice. Could you please sign this?" And when a kid does that, and he's got the cutest little face, there's no way any big league or any minor league or whoever can turn this kid down. When you just see a kid that all he wants is for you to sign a ball or a bat or his card or anything. For me, I did it as much as I could every day, because I remember myself being that kid at the Texas Rangers game growing up. And I told Billy Sample this, who signed my ball, that, hey, I asked him, I said, "Mr. Sample, could you sign my ball, please?" And he said, "Sure." He signed it, this and that. And he remembered that because I came up to him when he was a reporter coming in for a story when I was with the Red Sox. And it's unbelievable how things have a way of coming back to you, and I wish this kid, if he's out there and he hears this story and we can put it together, I would love to see him again, because he really made my day. And, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I would think as a player, you've done your batting practice pregame, you're ready to go. To me, I would love to just walk up to people up there, go sign a couple of balls, talk with some people. I feel like nowadays, at least I've seen it. I went to a Rays game not too long ago this past season. I just saw players just having conversations with people, just no big
When
deal.
Mike Trout came to Fenway Park this summer, he sat there and signed autographs for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Took pictures with kids. And Trout's one of the biggest names in the game. And when you can have a guy like him do that, that should show some of these young kids the professionalism that he has to get out there and do that, and show that he's a fan guy. He's not going out there just to play the game. No, not right now, kid. Whatever, that type of stuff. No. Engage yourself in these people, and I think that was very admirable for him to do so.
Oh yeah, and that's why Trout, he's not just an amazing player, but he's just a pro's pro.
Yeah.
That would honestly be my favorite part. If I've been just playing every single day, it honestly just feel like just a load off my shoulders to just go talk to some people. You know what I mean? Go sign a couple balls, sign some bats. My best friend Josh, he just went to he lives in Florida here as well, and he went to a Rays game, and Garrett Cole, he was just signing some gloves, bats, balls, whatever. Yeah, signed his hat. He asked he got it for his son. And he's like, asking him how his day was, stuff like that. It's just
those are things, Robbie, that the kids, those are memories for them to have later on down the road. Because if you're a jerk to some of these kids, they're going to remember that. Yeah. Okay. They will call you out all the time. But, all it takes is a little time to say hello, sign an autograph, just chat for a second. Boom. And if you have to leave, just say, "Hey, guys, I'll come back a little later, but I got to go out here and shag some balls. I got to take batting practice," whatever the case may be. But you will make those kids' day and their whole year, man.
Oh, yeah. And there was even a video, I think it was from this past year. I believe it was Aaron Judge. I think he was playing catch with someone out in the outfield.
Wow.
The guy, he was recording it on his phone. He had his glove, and the other he was playing catch. It was pretty funny. And it's just a little thing like that where it's not really too big of a deal, and it's good, but you can make those memories, and that's the cool part about it. So I like that, you are still seeing, even though you are seeing people on their phones and everything these days, you are still seeing people and players still having those interactions and still meaningful interactions. That's what's great about the game of baseball. I don't feel like you don't see that all that much in football. You don't see it in basketball. Baseball is still that one game where, you still have that connection, with the player and the fans. But Gareth Miller, man, hey, cool super chat. Thank you for dropping that, man. Appreciate that. But Ellis, man, until next time, we're gonna have to wait and see what happened with Devers. I'm sure we're gonna hear something else this coming week. We're already hearing some stuff now, and it's Monday. Who knows what kind of a week we're gonna have? Who knows? Maybe we have to do some kind of emergency podcast at some point this week. Who knows what happens? I don't know.
You never know. But I know the Red Sox, they're not done. Let me just put it like that. They're not done with the bat or the pitcher.
I agree. I think it's I have a someone in the chat here made a good comment saying here I don't think Hyde deserves the hate. I don't think he does either. I think you just got to let the man do his job. If I was going to work here, I'm a teacher full time. I'm going to work every day and I got everyone in the media talking about, what I'm doing at work every single day. Man, like, God, can you just get off my back for a second? Let me just do my job. Right. It's people think like that's one thing, man. I have talked with someone, that was a part of an organization at one point. He wasn't like a high level guy. He was just someone that was in the organization. And he was telling me, he's like, it's not as bang bang as you think. It's not, you don't just go make a phone call, offer money, and then get a deal done. It's not as simple as that. There's a lot of things a lot of tracks you got to cover. It's not easy. You got so many different things going on, different agents calling, different teams calling, it's not as easy as it might look.
No, that's one job that I've never wanted. A general manager or baseball ops guy, president. No, because let me tell you, everything has to come through you. And, it's the blame is blamed on you. Of course, you're going to get the accomplishments, but everything else, oh my goodness.
Yeah. The best general managers in the game, Dave Dombrowski, you could argue is probably, you could make the argument he's the best baseball executive of all time. He has definitely made his swing and misses. I mean, these guys, it's not an easy job. What I think it is, Ellis, honestly, I think it's, we've gone through a time where everyone's playing MLB The Show on their PS5 and they can go in there and they can go make whatever trade they want. They can go sign whatever guy they want. And if they don't get the guy that they want, they can just restart the game and just put it back on. Then they can go, do it again. I think people are they're in that mindset a little bit where like, why can't you go get this guy? Well, why can't you sign it? Like, it's not easy. Like, it's, I don't know. I think Hyde, you just got to let the man do his job.
Yeah. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing.
The guy knows exactly what he's doing. You know, people were saying when they were in the playoffs in 2021, you had people in the media, who, write for, different organizations saying, oh, looks like they've won the Mookie Betts trade. And now those same people are saying, oh, now it looks like they've lost the Mookie Betts trade. It's like, well, you just said something different a couple of years. I don't know. So it is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, you just got to let the guy do his thing. It's only December. It's a long off season. He's still got all this month. You still got all of January. January is going to be a long month. So then you got the beginning of February too. Long time. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But Ellis, I want to thank you for coming out for episode 26.
Thanks for having me.
And everyone, on our way out, if you can, hit the like button for us. The goal was 100 likes for tonight. Don't forget about our sponsor for tonight's show. We have BetOnline. Use code BLEAV. You get a 50% welcome bonus. But Ellis, man, thank you again. And we'll be back next time, everyone.
See ya.